Good morning, students. So, in the last class, we have discussed about power factor meters. So, in today's class, we shall discuss about energy meters. So, what is this energy meter? So, this energy meter you might have noticed in your household. In every house, you will be having the energy meter, right? So, what is this energy meter used for? So, energy meter is used to record your energy which you have consumed by the loads in your household. So that means it should be, suppose in first day the energy consumed was 12 kilowatts, and next day it has to be another 12. It has to 12 plus 12. That means it should be an integrating instrument. What is an integrating instrument? Integrating instrument means the reading which you have recorded today should be added to the reading which was recorded yesterday. So that is called integrating instrument. So energy meter is an example of integrating instrument which is used to record the energy. So these energy meters are used in household, that is domestic purposes or industrial purposes also. So this energy is nothing but, what is the energy formula? Energy is nothing but power into time, that is kilowatt. The units are kilowatt hours. So the meter which is used for measuring the energy utilizes by the electric load is called as energy meter. So this is the definition of energy meter. And this energy has to be it has to calculate for a particular interval of time. So that means what is the units of energy? Units of energy is nothing but kilowatt hour. So that means the kilowatt is nothing but the power units, and it has to be how many hours it has consumed. In how many hours it has consumed, that it has to note it. That means for particular interval of time. So interval of time is measured in hours or seconds or minutes. So here energy meter uses always hours. So in a particular interval of time, how much power is consumed, it is nothing but the energy. So energy is equal to integral 0 to t power dt. That means power is nothing but voltage into current. So integral 0 to t vi dt. And to find this energy, there will be two types of energy meters. So those are single phase energy meter and three phase energy meter. So today we shall discuss about single phase energy meter. So single phase energy meter means the households are in domestic purposes. Every house is having single phase supply only, right? So in houses there will be single phase energy meter, and in the industrial purposes there will be three phase energy meters. Now we shall discuss about single phase energy meter. So single phase induction type energy meter. Here I am using the word induction type. So this induction type is used because of the working principle. So energy meter works on the principle of induction. So these energy meters are called induction type energy meters. So now coming to the construction wise, there are four parts. So there are four main operating parts. Those are driving system, moving system, braking system, registering system. So those are driving system, moving system, braking system, registering system. These I will show you in the diagram, in the circuit diagram of energy meter. So see, this is how the energy meter will look like in your household, right? So this is the rating of energy. So the units are kilowatt hours. So it is indicated on this instrument. How many units are recorded, that this one will be changed to 2, 3, 4, 5. So likewise it will be indicated here, and here it is shown single phase type. That means it is a single phase energy meter, and it works on 220 volts supply and 10 amperes 50 hertz supply. So this is how the energy meter will look like. I am showing this how it will be there in your household. Next, see here, this is the actual construction diagram. So in this construction, as I told you, there are four operating systems. One is first driving system, moving system. First we shall discuss about the driving system. So here this is the energy meter. This energy meter, we shall start from here. This is the supply given here. The supply goes to the pressure coil. So these coils, this is pressure coil and this is the current coil. So this is nothing but the shunt magnet. Shunt magnet. What is the meaning of shunt? Shunt is used for parallel connection, right? So as this is connected in parallel, the coil is connected in parallel in the circuit. That means one goes to the phase and the other wire goes to the neutral. So that means this is the pressure coil which is connected in parallel in the circuit, and this is wound on a magnet. So this magnet is called shunt magnet and the coil is called pressure coil. And next there is one more magnet. This is the series magnet. So this is connected in series to the load. From the load it goes from here and it is going to the neutral supply. So as it is connected in series with the load, this is called series magnet and the coil is called current coil. This is called current coil. So here there is a shunt magnet. On the shunt magnet there is pressure coil, and here there is a series magnet. On the series magnet there is the current coil. Okay. Now this on this shunt magnet, on this limb, there is these bands. You can observe these three blue color bands. These are nothing but shading bands. I will tell you after completing the construction what is the purpose of this thing. So this is about the two magnets. This is the driving system of the energy meter. Next, coming to the moving system. Moving system means definitely it should move. That means here the moving system is nothing but a disc here. So this is the disc which will be rotating. This will be rotating whenever the energy is consumed. The disc starts rotating. So this disc is placed on the spindle. So this is the spindle. Here on this spindle a disc is placed. So this is nothing but the moving system. And braking system, this is the braking magnet which is used to brake. That means sometimes this disc will be rotating too fast or too slow. For that purpose braking magnet is used uh, to make it to control the speed of the disc. So that is the braking mechanism. And next the one is recording mechanism. How many times the disc is rotated has to be recorded for the further purpose, for the billing purpose. So today it has revolved some 1200 revolutions. Tomorrow it has revolved some another 800 revolutions. So how many revolutions it has rotated, that has to be recorded here. 1200 plus 600. It goes on recording and it is registered such that it can be used for the billing purpose. So here this is about the construction. So how many parts are there? There are four major parts. Those are, first one is the driving system. Driving system means the shunt magnet and the series magnet is nothing but the driving system. On the shunt magnet there is pressure coil. On the series magnet there is the current coil. Okay. Next, this is the driving system. Next one is the, what is the next one after driving system? Moving system. So this is the aluminum disc is the moving system here. This disc is placed on a spindle. This aluminum disc will be rotating whenever load is connected to the, whenever supply is given to the loads. So this as this is moving, this is called moving system, and this moving system has to be controlled using the braking mechanism. So here you can see the C-shaped braking magnet which will provide the braking mechanism which will control the speed of the aluminum disc. Next, fourth one is recording mechanism or registering system. So registering system is done by the how many times the disc has revolved, that has to be recorded. This is connected here to this point. So this is about the construction. Now coming to the working principle. So as here whenever supply is given, that means pressure coil will be energized. Pressure coil will be energized and it is given to the load also. It is connected to the load also. First, when the pressure coil is energized, what happens is a magnetic field is produced. A magnetic field flux phi is produced. This, because of this flux, there is an EMF induced in the disc. There is an EMF induced in the disc, as the disc is closed one, there are eddy currents induced in the disc. So because of the flux of the pressure coil, there is EMF induced in the disc. Because of that induced EMF, as it is closed one, there are eddy currents formed in the disc. And make a note of this eddy currents. Next, coming to the current coil. Whenever the load is connected here to the current coil, then this current coil will also get energized, and there is one more series flux will be produced, phi s, and because of this flux again induced EMF will be produced. Again because of that induced EMF, again the eddy currents are produced in the disc. So there are two eddy currents now. One is because of the pressure coil, and another eddy currents are because of the current coil. So these eddy currents, these fluxes, that is pressure coil flux and the series coil flux, interact with each other, and there is a net flux produced. Because of that net flux, there is a net torque produced, and because of the torque, there is a force, and because of the torque, the disc will be moving. It starts moving. So this, as this is starts moving, this is recorded by the registering mechanism. Okay. Now here one main condition is always you need to maintain the pressure coil flux phi p, and the supply voltage there should be 90 degrees. The angle between the pressure coil flux and the pressure coil voltage should be maintained 90 degrees phase angle. So to maintain this phase angle 90 degrees, you should always use these three shading magnets. As I told you, these three are the shading magnets which are placed on the shading bands which are placed on the shunt magnet. So these are copper shading bands. So these bands are to maintain the phase angle between the pressure coil flux and the pressure coil voltage, always 90 degrees, approximately 90 degrees. So that only the induced eddy currents are formed, and because of that aluminum disc will be rotating properly. So this is about the working principle. Once again I will explain you. So it works on the induction principle on the production of eddy currents in the moving system by the alternating fluxes. Because of the alternating fluxes, there are induced eddy currents. So the principle is called induction principle. So the name is given as induction type energy meter. And next, these eddy currents induced in the magnetic system, that is moving system, and magnetic field interact with each other to produce the torque on moving system, which exerts a force on the disc. So because of that force, the disc will start rotating. So this is about the working principle. And next, coming to the driving and braking torques. So driving torque is nothing but the torque which is produced because of the shunt field. So that is shunt magnet. That is phi p. That flux produced by the shunt flux, and flux produced by the shunt field, and the current I. So these two, the angle between the phi p and phi s, flux between produced by the pressure coil and flux produced by the series coil. So the driving torque is proportional to voltage into current and sine of the angle between the two fluxes, that is phi p and phi s. This is the phasor diagram of the energy meter. So you can observe this is the phi p is the flux produced by the pressure coil, and phi s is the flux produced by the series coil. And the angle between these two, what is the angle here? That is the total is theta, that is delta, and this is phi. So this angle is nothing but delta minus phi. So only TD is proportional to VI into sine delta minus phi. As I told you, this delta should be approximately equal to 90 degrees. That means the voltage and the flux of the pressure coil should always be maintained approximately 90 degrees. So if you substitute in place of delta 90, then VI sine of 90 minus phi, which is nothing but VI cos phi. If you remove this proportionality, TD is equal to K3 into VI cos phi. So that is the driving torque. Next, coming to the braking torque, braking magnet will be used whenever you need to control the speed. That means it depends on the speed of the disk. So TV is proportional to N. That is TV is equal to K4 into N. At steady state, these two torques should be equal. That is driving torque should be equal to the braking torque. So this driving torque is nothing but kVi cos phi, that is equal to K into N. That implies N is equal to kVi cos phi. Vi cos phi is nothing but the power. So N is equal to K into power. So total number of revolutions. Total number of revolutions is equal to, if you integrate this speed from 0 to time 0 to t, then you will be getting the number of revolutions. That is equal to K into power. So number of revolutions is equal to K into integral 0 to t p dt. In the starting we have discussed, if you integrate the power for a certain period of time, then it is called energy. So K into energy. So that means number of revolutions is directly proportional to energy. So how many revolutions the disk is making? The disk is making for particular interval of time will indicate the power consumed by the load for that particular interval of time. So the number of revolutions of the disk is directly proportional to the power consumed by the load. So this is about the energy meter derivation. Next, coming to the advantages of energy meter. So what are the advantages here? So advantages of it is having high driving torque. So there are two fluxes because of the shunt flux and series flux, two fluxes, and there is two torques. So because of those two torques, there is a high driving torque will be produced. And the cost is less. The cost of the single phase energy meter is less, and it has more accurate also. Reading is more accurate. And the disadvantages are it consumes high power. And it is suitable only for AC measurement. It is suitable for only AC measurement. For DC revolutions, it will not be able to calculate. And creeping error creates problem to the consumer. So creeping error creates problem. So creeping error means, what is this creeping error? Creeping error means even though the pressure coil is energized and there is no load, even though you have not switched on any fan or light or any other appliances in your house, even though the disk in the energy meter will be rotating. So that means when even though the pressure coil is energized and there is no load, even though the aluminum disc will be rotating. So that it should not happen, right? So that that problem is nothing but, that error is called creeping error. So creeping error is nothing but the slow but continuous rotation of energy meter. Energy meter will be slow, even though it is slow, but there is continuous rotation of disk in the energy meter, which only pressure coil is excited but no current flow through the current coil is called creeping. Even though the pressure coil is energized and there is no load connected, and then also that disk will be rotating. That error is called creeping. So in order to prevent this creeping, what they will do is, on the disk, two opposite holes on the opposite sides, they will dig small holes. Because of that holes, this error will be reduced. There will not be error happening. So in order to prevent creeping on no load, two holes are drilled in the disc on the opposite side of the spindle at the same radius. This causes sufficient distortion of the field to prevent continuous rotation. To prevent continuous rotation, there will be two holes with the same radius are punched on the disc. So this is about the creeping error. So despite of the disadvantages, because of the advantages, these energy meters are very much useful in single phase supply. So this energy meter is used highly in the household domestic purposes. In every houses there are energy meter to record the energy consumed by each individual, by each load. So this is about the energy meter. So in the tomorrow's class we shall discuss about the errors of the energy meter, different types of errors in the energy meter, and the three phase energy meter. Okay, thank you.